Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be slightly different to the usual videos that we do on this channel, because today I'm going to do a kind of video Q&A. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been putting a few questionnaires on my Instagram story. If you don't follow me already, Harry_SMMA, because I do these practically once a week, where people can ask me any SMMA questions, and I just put those on my story. But in today's video, I'm going to go through a few of the ones that I liked best and kind of give a video response on them. But a lot of these are going to be very quick fire, so I'm not going to dive into too deeply into a lot of the questions. I just want to get through a load of questions to tick them off, because I think it's going to be really interesting, because every time I do them, I do get very similar questions. The questions are always the same. But before I get into it, guys, please make sure you subscribe, because if you're new to the channel, I post every single day on YouTube, on SMMA, sales, Facebook ads, everything to do with SMMA and how to grow a successful agency in 2023. We post every single day, so I massively appreciate the subscribe or follow us if you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, because we upload every single day the audio version of all these videos too. But right, let's dive into it. So question 1 is the best advice for a complete beginner in social media marketing. Firstly, make sure that your service delivery is on point. Make sure you understand the service you're actually delivering, because that's the foundation of your business. If you don't understand, how, you don't understand Facebook ads in depth, you don't understand sales funnels in depth, it's going to be impossible to sell those services because you don't understand them. Then once you've got that service delivery on point, or you understand the service you're delivering, then you need to spend all of your time on money-making tasks. Don't spend months and months on a website, months and months on the perfect logo or the perfect domain. Just get your service delivery so you know what you're offering, and then spend all of your time on outreach, sales, booking meetings. Everything else is meaningless, because that's those tasks, and those sales tasks are going to be the only thing that actually gets you a client. Number 2 is, how did you gain the knowledge to actually start and be effective right away? And the answer to that, guys, is I wasn't effective right away. So unlike a lot of people, I never bought a course. I never bought a mentorship program. All of my journey from when I started dropshipping, when I was 16, all the way through to where I am now, I've never bought a course. However, through that journey, I picked up the skills. So through my dropshipping efforts, although I wasn't super successful in dropshipping, I picked up how to run Facebook ads. I picked up how to market products online, how to make content go viral. Those are all skills I picked up along the way. But in terms of my SMMA journey, it took me 6 months to sign my first client, and I almost gave up after those 6 months. Like 6 months of working every single day at social media marketing, and I still couldn't sign a client. I just couldn't get it over the line. So essentially, how I got my agency off the ground was purely through trial and error. Like I was sending logo animations to clients via email. I was sending Instagram voice notes, Instagram video messages, doing different types of LinkedIn outreach, until I found what works, until I found what I use to this day, and that allowed me to excel my agency. But the short answer, I didn't, buy a course. I just did it purely through trial and error, and wanted to teach myself, because, we've done videos on this channel before where you can learn everything for free. However, it is going to take you a longer period of time. And that's what, it was the most frustrating 6 months of my entire life, trying to get my SMMA off the ground, until I found the blueprint that worked. And then it was, I'm not going to say, smooth sailing, because it wasn't. But it was a lot easier and a lot less frustrations. Right, my third question is, do you outsource all of my service delivery? Or do you do it all in-house? And if you're a long-standing member of this channel, you'll know that I'm like, I couldn't be more against outsourcing any of your service delivery, guys. The best way in 2023 to launch and scale an agency long-term is learn your service delivery for yourself, whether you've got a team member or whether you've got someone in your kind of radius or your network that can help you with the service delivery. Then that's the best way to do it. Keeping it in-house, but more importantly, you as the business owner need to understand how Facebook ads work, how ClickFunnels works, how sales funnels, what a successful sales funnel looks like, what a successful email marketing sequence looks like. Because if you don't understand it as the business owner, and you're outsourcing all of your work to someone in a different country, or even someone down the road, or even when you employ team members, how are you possibly going to oversee them? Or, if you run into issues, or you run into a client asking you for an update, if you don't speak the lingo, if you don't understand, the terminology or the trends that are happening in the industry, how can you expect to run a successful agency when you don't understand the industry you're even in? It's like Elon Musk not understanding how, he doesn't necessarily need to understand how rockets work, but he understands the physics behind it. He understands, business. Steve Jobs understood computers. He was a software engineer. He was a hardware engineer. He understood the industry he was in. Whereas with these outsourced agencies and the people that teach these outsourced agencies, they're kind of, it's basically drop shipping but in a service industry, and which is just bound to fail. You cannot keep that up long term because you're purely relying on the person you're outsourcing to literally keep the foundation of your business up. Because if you outsource to someone, yeah, they might have got results 2 months ago, but unless they're on the ball and they're keeping up to date with the new Facebook ad change that came out yesterday, then what? Like, you're relying on someone else to literally keep your business afloat. And people might say, well, Harry, isn't that the same with hiring employees? No, it's not. Because the whole point and the whole reason why I say outsourcing doesn't work is because everyone who does outsource, and 99% of people that do outsource, want to outsource because they're lazy. They don't want to learn the service delivery themselves, which means this still stood for those people hiring employees. You've got to understand the services you're offering. You have to understand the business model you're in so that you can oversee anyone that you're paying. The next question, guys, is how can you decide if a business is worth running ads for, and where to take the leads that you bring the customers? I think that's supposed to say. So that's a two-part question. Firstly, how do you decide if a business is worth running ads for? Firstly, that's going to be purely dependent on the industry that you're going after. So the easiest way to qualify a business owner, guys, is to choose a niche. For example, say you went after a dental practice. We know categorically that every single dental practice needs ads running for them. Every single dental practice should be able to afford your services. However, if you're going after a local shoe shop that gets 2 people into the store each day, they're probably not going to need ads running. They're probably not going to be able to afford you. I mean, obviously they're going to need ads running, but whether they're set up for it is a different story. So step one, make sure you're choosing a niche that's set up and geared up for a majority of the businesses in that industry can afford your services and need those services. It's usually industry based. But then in terms of finding businesses that are actually qualified for you, look at the reviews, the leading businesses in each industry, and that doesn't need to be the most famous businesses. You don't need to be going after, dental practices on Harley Street in London, which is the medical district in London. You don't need to be going for dental practices there, but you need to go to established businesses that aren't startups, that aren't, ones with really bad reviews or ones that are half-assed, or you can get a pretty good idea of this by looking at the website, by looking at the business owner, by looking at their social pages, and you can just get a good idea. It's not really a checkbox. I mean, we do have a qualification checklist in the academy which shows you exactly how to qualify each of your leads based on their content, based on their profile, based on their website, based on the number of employees they have, etc. However, majority of the qualification process can just be done by looking at the business and just being and making a good judgment. Because really, you can look at any business and realize, are they going to have enough money to invest in advertising? Because are they doing advertising already? And kind of go from there. And then in terms of the leads that you bring in, you're going to have to send the leads that you bring in to the business to the customer. Say you set up a ClickFunnels or a sales funnel. You're going to send traffic to the sales funnel. You're going to get people to submit their information on the sales funnel. And then you need to create the automations that send every time a lead comes through to either their CRM software, to a Google spreadsheet, email that lead to them. You need to make sure that not only you as an agency see the leads coming through, so you can see what's coming through, the quality of the leads, but you need to make sure that the customer is receiving them in the way that they want to receive them. Some clients want to get a text message every time a lead comes through. Some clients want an email and a text message. Some want the whole whack. Some want a CRM software. They want a text message. They want an email. They want everything. So you just need to communicate with the client and figure out what's the best way to notify them and keep track of all the leads coming through, and every client's going to be different. The next question, guys, is what's my current outreach method for my agency? So as I've said in a few videos, our outreach methods have changed over time. So when I first launched my agency, the first 5 clients that I got for the agency were all through LinkedIn outreach. I was an absolute animal on LinkedIn, and I still am. Or I still could be. And essentially what I was doing, I was utilizing LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and this method still really does work. There are better methods that are going to be more effective. However, this does still work, and it's probably, other than cold calling, it's my number two method of signing clients, and that would be optimizing your LinkedIn profile, getting on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then searching for businesses and using LinkedIn Sales Navigator as a lead sourcing software. And then I'd contact all of the businesses that appeared through a direct message. I'd connect with them so they'd see my content moving forward, and usually you then get access to a mobile number or a better contact piece of information once you'd connected with that person on LinkedIn. Which is super good when I first started. However, for the past probably 2.5, 3 years now, the only outreach we've done as an agency is cold calling. Tom and I we now don't do our cold calling. We've got a sales team that does all the cold calling for us. So we give them a lead list. They create the lead lists themselves for a specific industry, and they just cold call, to 8 to 10 hours a day. In the mornings, they start with the UK, and then in the afternoons, they cold call the US, because a lot of our clients are on the East Coast of America now. So yeah, that's essentially what we do. We cold call every single business. Yeah, we do have a multi-outreach strategy. Once we get a kind of, we might not get every cold call that we do doesn't turn into a meeting, obviously. But also every lead that we class as a slightly warmer lead also doesn't convert to a meeting. So we might get a slightly warm lead that shows a slight bit of interest that we then push through an email sequence. We then push through, different types of contact. But like I say, cold calling is by far the most effective and fastest way to sign a client. You just need to get over the hurdle and the scared mentality of doing it, and just get started, because that's the best way to do it. This is a very interesting question, guys. It said, how can you keep the camera on a Zoom call and follow a script? Won't the client know? Now, this is a very naive question, but it's important I want to answer it, just because there's beneath the naivety, it's a valid question, which is kind of what he's referring to, I believe, which is, do you follow a direct script on your presentations? So you'll do a cold call, you get someone in your meeting, and he's essentially applying, right, when you're following a script on a presentation, how can you read it, essentially? And the answer to that is you don't follow a script. The presentations that you do for clients in order to close them has to be a really organic and natural process. It's a conversation from a business owner to a business owner. It isn't, right, get on a Zoom call and you just talk at them for 30 minutes. That's absolutely not what it is. It's a conversation between you and another business owner to figure out their pain points and to figure out a mutual agreement of how it works for us as an agency, so we get paid, but also, deliver an amazing service to a business owner that needs our help. So you put together a presentation, and obviously the presentation happens in stages. You're going to have the discovery call at the beginning where you figure out their pain points and what they need. Then you're going to go into the presentation, which can be guided by a physical presentation, a PowerPoint, a Canva doc, where you take them through a presentation. But like I said, that still needs to be a discussion. So it's just your discussion is being guided by a presentation rather than a presentation that has a little bit of conversing in between the slides, if that makes sense. So like I say, you're not following a script, you're just having a conversation that's being guided by what you've put together. So next question, guys, what's a good budget to set with my clients for Facebook ads when just starting out? Well, very good question. And the simple answer to this question is I would never run an ad campaign for any client that had less than probably a $20 a day budget. So anything less than $600 a month, I would not work with that client, especially on a local lead gen level. If you're working with an e-commerce brand, it's going to have to be a hell of a lot more than that, just to make a dent, especially if you're going, nationally. But for a local lead gen business, when you're targeting a radius of, say, 40 kilometers of a practice, of a shop, or of a service-based business, $600 is probably the minimum. But ideally, you're going to want $1,500 a month or even more. But what you've got to explain to the client, if they don't have that budget, is we could run a £2 a day a budget. You'd find out the same pieces of information eventually, but it's just going to take a hell of a lot longer. So if they're paying you $1,000 a month ad spend, they're going to want to find out as much information as possible to get to where they need to be. So if you're spending if I spend $100 a day on an ad campaign and you're spending $10 a day on an ad campaign, I'm going to find out what ads work 10 times quicker than what you're going to find out, which means I'm going to get results for that client 10 times quicker than you are. Which, if you say it like that to the client, they usually find the ad spend from somewhere, because they don't want to spend, multiple service fees when they could just spend one service fee and find out the same amount of information. What's important to note is the Meta platform actually does prefer smaller budgets. So it's a common misconception that the more money you spend on the ad platform, the better results you're going to get, which is actually untrue. So say you're getting a cost per lead for, say you're doing a £20 a day budget and you're getting a cost per lead for £20. If you increase your daily budget to £100, your cost per lead's actually going to increase slightly. It's probably going to increase to say 22, 23. So really it's still an achievement, and that's scaling that campaign's been a success because you're bringing in more leads for a higher budget, which means it's more profitable. Obviously, it's going to get to a point where you scale that ad spend, your daily ad spend, to a point where that's, your cost per lead has increased too heavily. So you're going to have to scale it back. I mean, this is really advanced Facebook ad scaling, but it's important to touch on it. So the more money you spend on the platform, the quicker you're going to get data back, which means the quicker you're going to get results. However, like I say, minimum of $600, but obviously that you do need to be aware that the more you spend, that's not going to necessarily decrease your cost per lead or your cost per purchase. You're just going to get more of them. So as long as you're still below your threshold of what your break-even point is and what you're happy to spend on per lead or per purchase, it's still going to be a success scaling the campaigns. My question about the academy is, if I get into the academy, do I get direct guidance from you? Absolutely. This is probably one of the biggest USPs of the academy, which is when you join the academy, you actually get access to Tom and I. It's not like all of the other, social media marketing courses where you pay for the course. They've got 5 people managing the community. They've got 5 people doing the live calls, and you never actually get access to them. They might do 1 live call a week, but you can never just drop them a message and ask them a direct question, which is completely different to our academy. You literally get Tom and I on Discord. You get flagged in our Instagram DM. So whenever you have any kind of question, you just send us a message and we'll just reply to you instantly with a voice note or a message or whatever it is to solve your issue. Like, for example, today, Ross is an academy member. He's struggling to get his ads out of the learning phase just because he's new to the Facebook ad platform and he doesn't know what to do. And we've been going back and forth literally personally all day today while I've been getting my agency work done, helping him out through the process. Yesterday, Sam had a new client meeting tomorrow, and he wanted me to just check over his presentation. The week before, Alex, he had he just put together his whole ad campaign for a new client, with all his ad sets, all his campaigns, all of his ads, and he sent me a 10-minute Loom video and said, Harry, can you just look over this before I press the publish button? So I've just got everything in order. Looked through the 10-minute video, gave him some feedback, and now he's got his ad campaigns up and he's got leads coming through. So it's such a personable experience. Obviously, when you enroll, you'll go through all of the content to get your foundation of knowledge first. But once you do that, you're then in our network, guys. You're now part of the community. And, if the 200 people in the community don't help you, Tom and I are there to help you. So you absolutely do get access to us. And the only people that take the live calls when we do them is Tom and I. We never have some random person that you don't know taking the live calls. It's always Tom and I. And finally, guys, this will be the final question, which is, how did you overcome the fear of failure when scaling your business? And this is something that I really struggled with. So, and I kind of treat my agency in different phases. The first phase was trying to get my agency off the ground. So that first 6 months. And in that first 6 months, I didn't do any cold calling. And then literally the first day I tried cold calling, as you'll know, I signed a client on my sixth ever cold call, which was insane. In order to get over the fear, you have to tell yourself that the only way you're going to get anywhere is if you get over that fear. And use me as an example. If you want to be stuck in the same place I was for that 6-month period where I couldn't sign a client, then stay fearful. But unless you sit down, tomorrow, today, and look at your phone and think, right, the only way I'm going to be successful in SMMA is if I do something that's difficult. If I'm not, scared to do something, or if I stay in my comfort zone, then I'm never going to get anywhere, because that's the same way everyone else feels. If it was as easy as that, and if I could get somewhere staying in my comfort zone, then everyone would be a multimillionaire. But you're not, and not everyone is. So the only way you're going to get anywhere, and the only way you're going to get your needle pushing forward in your agency, is if you put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And for a lot of people, that's cold calling 100 businesses a day. I remember when I first cold called a business, I literally couldn't press the ring button. I had the number in my phone, put it on my desk, and I literally could not press the ring button because I was so terrified. And it sounds stupid. You're terrified to ring a total stranger that's going to forget about you in seconds. It just doesn't make any sense. So the absolute best advice I can give is, if you're scared to, cold call, if you're scared to get on a Zoom meeting and have your face on camera, if you're scared to, I don't know, even deliver Facebook ads for someone, even though you've got all of the information ready to deliver a perfect ad campaign. Just put yourself out there. The only way you're going to know is if you try. What's the worst that can happen? Someone, tells you to fuck off. Someone puts the phone down on you. Someone says, I'm not interested. There really isn't anything bad that can happen. You've just got to put yourself out there. But yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. But hope you enjoyed that video, guys. It's a bit of a different video. If you're new to the channel, like I say, please subscribe, because, we post every single day, and, the content's super useful on Facebook ads, sales, how to launch an agency, the misconceptions of running an agency, all of the good stuff that's hopefully there to change the industry over the next 2 years. But yeah, like I say, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please subscribe. See you tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.